You can have calendars with this site. You may have an events calendar, a library calendar. If you had an active recreation department, you can have a recreation calendar, and certainly a public meetings calendar. We're not limiting you to the number of downloadable documents you put on here, which is important because over time, you want the website to be a resource for looking up information.
So it will archive old minutes and keep them out there?
As part of our service, we'll archive, I think, 3 years back, and then anything forward. So if I hop back over to Rochester, which has been a client for a while, and if I go down to, well, you know, probably City Council is probably the biggest, but now we have minutes from 2002 all the way through, and they're probably in PDF, and the appliance will search within those. So if you're looking for what happened 5, 6 years ago, this is a good tool to utilize to help you get there. And I think my point is, we're not limiting the number of documents that you'll have on there. Minutes is traditionally what's kept, but it could be news notices and forms and so on and so forth. There's the ability to solicit feedback from citizens with a drop-down menu. It's an optional feature, but to give you an idea, send us comments, and you could decide how you want to break out your comments. They could be by department, they could be by topic, but somebody would be able to say, you know what, I want to talk about the need for tree trimming. What fields would you like to require? And we can send each topic along to a different person.
These can't be sent anonymously, though. Well, they can because they can make up a name to send it.
Right, but you have to have a required email address.
And it has to be valid email.
And it has to be valid email, but it could be a fake email. You could use somebody else's email, and we won't be able to get through that. It doesn't. You don't really get a lot of dirt here. People aren't that interested in doing that. Well,
you heard the chuckle from the back of the room.
All right. Some people.
I'm never anonymous.
See, that's my point. Also, so our tools are templates. They're various forms, one of which happens to be a submittable survey or a service request form that will allow you to build out some interactive forms. We had a client who was an island who said, you know what, we want to put all our RFPs and our IFBs and our IFQs online because people can't come and get these. But we put them online, and if somebody's going to want to make an amendment to the RFP, how are we going to know who took that information packet online? It's going to save us time, it's going to save us money, but we don't know what to do. Well, we created a simple submittable survey. In fact, the island was Nantucket, so let me see if I can go there to give you a... I should have shut this off. And so Nantucket created this online procurement desk, which has requests for proposals, invitations for bids, so on and so forth. I think you get the idea. And if I'm interested in one of these, I want the packet relating to this online, and they say, great, but before we give you the packet, who are you? And I want to have a link, so as I do a change of amendments or an addition, I can then get that information out to people. So my point here is we use survey forms, or these online forms, to be able to provide you with some tools to capture information online directly from residents or visitors.
Are the citizen comment forms, are they strictly go to the person, or it's sort of everybody can see everybody's comments?
No, these comments are purely citizen to town.
But are they readable by everybody, or only by the town official that they're...
Only by the town official. That's a great question. What they do is, if I submit this, it goes to a restricted conference that is not on the website, that cannot be searchable. And you could forward it to 1, 2, 3 people, but it's all within town. It's totally private, as it really wants to be.
Mhm.
For constituents, we're trying to make the sites, I mean, we're giving you the tool, you can play with it, you can change it around, but at least we're trying to organize it and make sure that citizens are getting quick access to what they're looking for. And on the municipal side, we have about 2,600 municipal employees who are using our system. And when you're dealing with a variety of folks, you really want to be able to make it user-friendly and easy to update. And I think we're doing a nice job with that. I mentioned support. So this is our blanket, our safety net. People can talk to somebody in Maynard Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. We can watch your screen. We'll at that point do stuff with you. We won't do it for you. Up till the point you go live, we're building out all the pages for you. Once we go live, we're going to do it with you. But you can call us. You can send us an instant message. We have a comprehensive support site. So weekends, somebody wants to post a slideshow, they're not sure what to do, they can go to our site on the weekend and search and see a little 2-minute video, how you do this. Or look at some screenshots as to how to fill out a form. And then lastly, we also started this, and it's just gone over really well. Monthly, we have online tutorials. So we train a subset of employees to keep up the site. Over time, people come and go, and you get new employees in. You could pay us for more training, which you don't really want to do. You could train them yourselves, which you may not have time, or they can sit online at their desk and take tutorials at no charge, because it's part of our service, to get up to speed with what they need to do. And it's worked out really well.
Nice that you have a live time. People can get to you live on phone support, not just by email.
Yes, live.
9 to
Yes.
5, Monday through
I know, but that's a nice feature, not a lot of companies going away from that.
No, and everyone speaks English. Fluently.
Okay?
So we're not going to we're not going to India.
You're not going to, you're going to Maynard, which is like a little India.
You know,
No, there's an Indian restaurant in Maynard, though. I think.
okay.
Yes, and most of the time it's going to be immediate, if not within the hour.
What happens for we buy services, a lot of our services from other towns? What happens in that case? I mean, we use their police department, we buy police, we buy fire protection, we buy landfill. Who's filling in that information?
And we buy Parks and Rec in Wolfboro.
Well, we provide an unlimited number of pages, so you could have representations of all those sites on this site. When we have these planning meetings, that's, I think, where we would start to say, how do you want to handle this? I mean, we're going to look to the town for leadership into what you want up there. But you may say, I want X number of pages that are on the Wolfboro Police site on my site, and we'll either link or we'll bring them over. That's up to you, but is that clear?
Do we need permission from them to do that?
Well, if you're using their services, I would assume you would talk to them.
Yeah,
about the
Wolfboro
information.
Park and Rec is the only one we use from Wolfboro. Everything else is out of Wakefield, and they're not one of your clients.
Not yet, but they're budgeting to be so next year.
Well, then that makes it easier.
Yeah.
So, okay. In the meantime, that, you know, we may just have to appoint somebody from here to do it, or talk to the department heads over there and see if they'd be willing to do it.
I think we can work that out easily.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
What
should think.
and it's public information, so.
That'd be just hard information from Wakefield. Would there be times, places are open, who to talk to if you have a problem, that kind of thing?
We already have most of that
Paying them for it,
information,
yeah.
and again, in our organizational meeting, we can provide you most of that
Sure,
information.
we've done it anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
There just won't be anybody from there to update ongoing information and news
Yeah.
information. You know, if they've got something special happening that they need to talk
If
to
they want,
somebody
if they
about
want.
until they go online.
Right, and the
at
town,
that
you can
point-
talk to the town administrator, she loves this, and it's just a question of budgeting for it.
When people sign up for the minutes of, say, the selectmen or planning board or something, does anyone know, does the town department know who that's being emailed to?
Is there a mail list?
You can request it, or you can actually give you two, you can access it. You would see a listing of email addresses, so you won't necessarily know who they are, but you can see a list of email addresses. Now, you're also going to have a disclaimer in here saying to the residents, we are not going to sell these addresses, we're not going to market them, it's purely private. So that's very important. But you can have access to look at each one of those lists and to see who signed up for it. But it doesn't mean you're going to know the name behind
Oh,
the
yeah,
email.
no, I just, how it's used, I mean,
Right.
5 people requesting, or we have
Oh,
500?
yeah, we often have, a lot of towns say, we'd like to know the number of people for each list, not necessarily who they are.
Right.
And that's readily available.
Right.
You want to see how it's being utilized.
And who's interested, right?
Yeah.
Now, part of what we help you with is you build up the site, you also want to market this new site to the community. So there's multiple ways that you want to get the word out, through newspapers, through one-on-one interaction here, which is very important, through a changed mindset of, look, here's the information you're looking for, but you know, this was online. You can get this very easily. You don't have to wait for us to be opening. You could have gotten this last night when you were looking for it. So it takes a little while. And there are other things communities do, like when they do mailings to residents, they include a little something in their mailing saying, check out our new website.
Yeah, go on our newsletter.
Do you have any towns as small as Brookfield with only 700 people?
Our smallest, well, I don't know if it's our smallest, Row, Massachusetts has one full-time employee, and she happens to be the user of the website. I think there's about 250 in Row. Tolland is another small one in Massachusetts. And in New Hampshire, I think we have a few that are close. What was the population?
700?
Yeah, I think I'll have, I can give you the list, but there's a few that are very similar.
Can you do like 3 layers? And bear with me a second. If somebody clicks on cemeteries, it'll say where all the cemeteries in town are. If you click on a particular cemetery, as a second layer, it will give you who's buried there. And then if you click on the third layer, like a name, then maybe we would have the history, or if we know about this person and their involvement in the town going back hundreds of years possibly.
That really is a great question. That really depends on, do you have that information electronically? That's the biggest challenge folks
We
have.
would have to work on that, I understand.
Right. So if I go to this site, Wareham, Massachusetts, they have something called, right in their homepage, Cemetery Archives. And they happen to have some good information. So if I top, here are all the Smiths. There's actually 4 pages of Smiths buried. And depending on what information you have, they can certainly tell you where they're buried, but they may even tell you father, mother, address. So the answer is yes, with 2 caveats. One is you have to get it into some kind of form, which is often the biggest challenge. And 2, we're hosting this database for them, and that would be somewhat of an additional charge. Not a lot, but just I want to be totally upfront about it.
No, that's fine.
But hopefully that answers your question. So we do stuff like that.
That would be something that the cemetery trustees and the archivists
Right.
would have to put their brains together and budget for if they wanted to do something like
Yeah,
that.
it's gonna take time, you know, first you
Right.
build it with the directions on where all the cemeteries are located, what their names are, and then.
But we can always add to this as
Oh,
we
yeah.
as we
Right.
go.
Right.
So it's not something that we have to set up right away.
I just wanted to know if we had the capability to expand to that level, but.
All you need is to think about getting your info in some kind of database, and then we can build the interaction so people can search that database like we're doing here.
So what type of databases are you working with the most?
I think there's a SQL database,
Okay.
but I don't know if it really matters. I think we could probably change things
Yep.
depending on what you get into. That shouldn't be too much of an issue.
The other thing I was thinking about, Ernie, was to possibly put up our genealogy information for births, deaths, marriages each year, going back. I know we do have some of that, at least in an Excel spreadsheet that we need to move to a database, but
Yeah, and depending on the volume, you may be able to manage it without,
yeah,
without